All right, guys, let's go get a special bike today, the Lectric XPedition 2.0. This is a full-size cargo bike that comes in multiple battery size options. Let's get it out of the garage and go for a ride. All right, let's talk about this absolute awesome bike. This is the second version of the XPedition that Lectric came out with, and they did some major upgrades. They upgraded the front suspension with a dual spring front suspension. The engineers on this basically said, you need to have something that's going to be a little bit more robust whenever you're carrying around a ton of cargo or children on the back of this bike. So you've got a dual spring setup that gives you a more supple ride. Now, this is brand new to the Lectric XPedition. Last year, or the 1.0, was just a rigid fork, which worked really well, was super reliable, but it's always nice to have a little bit of extra comfort, and you get 50 millimeters of dual spring travel on this. A few other upgrades that they did on this, they did an undermount shifter, and it's an 8-speed this time. So a nice undermount shifter is going to give you real quality shifting. They did make this bike a little bit longer in design from what I understand. The actual tubing on this is amazingly done. Really good weld quality on this entire bike. Absolutely outstanding. You've got plenty of room to have an extra rider back here, have a storage area, put whatever you want on the back of this. But then you have this massive area right here in the middle that's made for storing your batteries. So this particular one is the long range version. It's two 48-volt batteries that have a total of 35 amp hours combined together. This is their longest range version that they have. They also have two other models. I'll display the stats right here on the screen, along with the price of all three models that's currently set on their website. Now, a few other things that they did that were kind of like attention to details. You might notice that this kind of like fender thing underneath here is kind of unique. It's got some slots put in there. Well, they originally did 3D printing of this to figure out how to prevent noise from the motor from amplifying. Sometimes whenever you have guards on the sides of tires to prevent children's feet or other objects from getting into the spokes while you're going down the road, it amplifies the noise. Well, they designed these slots inside this fender to allow the noise to escape so it's not as loud. This is actually a much quieter motor, not just because of that, but also because they redesigned the motor to make it even more quiet. Now, this is a 48-volt system, 750 watts, so you're going to get plenty of power. All this stuff is just big upgrades from the prior version of the XPedition. But the question is this really a good quality bike when it comes to riding it down the road? Well, I went out to Arizona last year and actually got to ride this before the launch, and I can tell you, this bike is super impressive. There's only one thing that I really wish was different on this, and we'll get to that here in just a little bit. For now, let's go ahead, power it up, and hit the road. Now, being that this is the long range version, I'm going to leave this in pedal assist 5, and we're going to take this on as long of an adventure as I can within an hour. I've got 1 hour to do this ride, and I want to cruise as far as I possibly can. So we're going to put the pedal to the metal and see what this bike is capable of. Now, I may have to go into the menu system and make a few changes because this right now is topping out at 20 miles an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and pull over and I'm going to make those changes real quick. And we're going to get this thing to go the full 28 miles an hour class 3 mode. Oh yeah, that did it. Nice. Now we're cooking with gas, people. Then also new to this lineup is the torque sensor. Typically they went with a cadence sensor, but they switched over to a torque sensor on this bike. And from what I understand, some of the people in the company were a little bit reluctant, but they found a sweet spot on these torque sensors that they kind of feel like a cadence sensor and a torque sensor hybrid, in my opinion. One of the really nice things about this bike is that you have a lot of adjustability. So on this particular bike, you have this stem adjustability right here. So if you have multiple people that are going to be riding this bike in your family, you can quickly adjust it with the quick adjustment that's right here on your stem. So this is simply how you adjust this. You just push up on this right here and then pull on this lower portion and it'll pop up. Now you can raise and lower and turn your handlebars all at once, making this the fastest adjusting stem out on the market. There's not another design that's faster than this by any means. I personally prefer the upright feel, and for my rider height, I have it up just a little bit higher than maybe somebody who's a little bit shorter would have it. Now, one thing that Lectric does with all of their bikes is they just kind of make them pretty simplistic when it comes to the display. They don't have really high flashy displays at all. They're just pretty basic displays, but they're really easy to see, even with sunglasses on that typically would block some of the displays out there. Now, this is a nice upright feel, and you do get some ergonomic grips. So comfort is definitely in mind whenever it came to making this bike, knowing that the people who are going to be traveling with this bike are more than likely going to be commuting to the store and transporting their kids back and forth. But here is a look at this display. Nice large display, displaying everything you need. We've done 4 miles on this bad boy, and we've got plenty of battery bar up top here. Then you've got your ergonomic grips over here that are lock on, that do have removable end caps that are nice because then you can add a mirror real easily. You have this really nice compact thumb throttle over on the left side. You've got your control pad right over here that will allow you to go through all of your menu, and to access your menu, you just simply hold these two down, and then you get into a simple menu system. And then to get out of that menu system, you just simply hold it down again. You're gonna have your right and left turn signals right here, and then your power button. Now, these are a generic brake system, but they remind me of Tektro brakes quite a bit. A lot of similarities to them. They do have cutoff switches built in, and then they have some cable management up here that they did a pretty good job on. Over here is your 8-speed undermount shifter. This is going to be a Shimano shifter, and we'll go over the rest of the drivetrain here in a minute, but this whole setup is really comfortable and easy to use. Now, one thing that I really like about this bike is the pickup is really responsive. It's going to get you through an intersection in no time. I mean, you are going to straight up fly through the intersection and not have to worry about sitting there waiting, having traffic wait on you to get through. It gets up and it goes, and it doesn't mess around. True 48 volt, 750 watt system, really putting out the power. So Lectric has an estimated range of around 200 miles, which seems quite a bit. And I believe that's pedal assist 1 on the absolute easiest terrain you can possibly get. And also pretty much ideal situations, maybe like lab situations. I think this bike is more going to be on pedal assist 1, closer to 100-mile range with this battery setup. I'll be curious to see where we're at whenever we end this ride today. I'm hoping to be able to get in roughly about 20 miles, but we'll just have to see. Look at this trail system, beautiful, and this bike looks amazing on it. As far as maneuverability of this bike handles really, really well. You can feel the length of the bike behind you, but overall, this bike is very, very smooth and feels really comfortable riding. You also get a quick release clamp down here, so you can adjust the seat post. And as I was saying earlier before, this has a suspension seat post, so this bike feels really comfortable over any bumps. As far as hill climbing goes, this is a nice little sized hill here. It seems to be handling this hill just fine, maintaining about 20 miles an hour. If I were to guess, I would say that hill was probably somewhere in the range of 7 to 8%, so pretty standard hill. Now, if there's one thing that I don't care for on this bike, it's this kickstand. They did try to improve it, but it's definitely falling short whenever it comes to ease of use. There's no weight on this bike, and this kickstand is still really difficult to use. Now let's give the throttle a shot. We'll see what the throttle actually gets up to. And the throttle is a true class 3, class 2 throttle. We're maxing out at 20 miles an hour. Now on Lectric's website, they do have all kinds of accessories you can get. You may have noticed that I've got a bag right down here. This is a really nice bag that I highly recommend picking up if it doesn't come with the bike. Sometimes they offer all kinds of different accessory packages. And this little bag is really nice. It stores all kinds of different gadgets. You can put your phone in there. Whenever I'm not charging the bike or riding the bike, I also store my charger in there so I know where it's at every single time. But so far, I've got 7 miles on the odometer, and I've only been riding for about 15 minutes. So we're cruising. Now, as you guys can see down here, you are going to get some foot plates for any passengers that you have. These things look really well designed. I do like the way they look on this one. Sometimes the foot plates look a little bit heavy duty. These look nice and light, but sturdy enough to kind of be able to transport even an adult on this bike. Now, even with this strong headwind, the bike has no issues just cruising right through this. If I was on a standard bike, this headwind would be an absolute nightmare. Now, this bike does have a pretty large front chainring. However, whenever I get up to about 24, 25 miles an hour, I can start to kind of feel the ghost pedaling. Now, I don't remember that whenever I went out to Arizona and rode the demo bikes that they had. But on this particular one, I am noticing just a slight amount of ghost pedaling. And I don't know if they changed anything from the models that I rode out in Arizona, but it definitely is there, and I kind of wish it wasn't. And it would be nice to be able to hit that true 28 miles an hour with just casually pedaling, because these bikes, in my opinion, they're not used for exercise. You can use them for exercise by all means, but they are not exercise bikes. They're more bikes to actually accomplish a task, like take the kids to school or practice, or run to the grocery store, or just not have a car at all and be able to cruise right along. This is definitely something that I think if you lived in a city, you could use this as a car replacement, because it's got enough storage capacity and weight capacity that you could easily make this a substitution for a vehicle. All right, coming up here, we do have the big hills. I've got it in the hardest gear right now, gear 8. And we're going to see how this does. This hill is actually called Bloody Hill. And it's just known as one of the steeper hills in this area. But the actual hill, from what I understand, is called Bloody Hill because of the battle that went on out here. So it started right back there, and it kind of gives you this false flat coming up. And then it kicks up again. We're doing 20 miles an hour. Again, just pedaling along. And Lectric XPedition 2.0 has no problem with these hills. This part right here is where it gets super steep. See how it does. Kind of excited about this because I've conquered this hill a few times on analog bikes. And it's doable, but it's definitely a big hill for this area. "22 miles an hour. And I would say this is probably about a 12% grade. It might go to 15 right here. But we're 21 miles an hour according to the display here. Of course, that's not GPS verified, just according to my display. Pumping out 1,100 watts of power, averaging, I would say, like 900 going up that hill. Impressive. Now the next test is downhill speed. We've got a couple of downhills here. Let's see what we can get it up to on this next one. Right now we got it to about 30 miles an hour, and it feels pretty stable. Sometimes you get cargo bikes that tend to have a little bit of a wobble. And that's one thing that I check for on any cargo bike that I've got. I think this is gonna get a pretty good speed run right here. 31, 32. 32 miles an hour is what I saw on the speedometer. Felt really stable. Sometimes you just don't know with 20-inch wheels, but these 20-inch wheels feel really, really good. And speaking of these wheels, you do have a through axle up front, so that helps with stability and just overall build quality of the bike. And then also you get some awesome reflective tires. Now I am noticing the headlight wobbles quite a bit. This is supposed to be a premium headlight, kind of like an upgraded headlight. But from what I can tell, it just comes with the bike. And it does wobble a little bit. And I think it's just because it's so big. I don't know that they physically needed a bike light that's that big for this bike. I think they could have gone with a little bit smaller and then one that would put out just as much, if not more lumens. Now it's pretty consistent as I go up these hills to see it hit 1100 watts, which is impressive. I believe I even saw it hit 1200 watts at one point. I'm gonna have to check it on this next hill and see if that's the case, but that's a good amount of power. And if what is showing on the screen is correct, I would say they did a pretty good job of giving us the estimated power of this particular bike. Now the nominal power on this is of course 750 watts. That's pretty standard for a bike like this in 48 volts. There's no one around me, so let's test these brakes. Oh, actually pretty stinking impressive. These definitely feel a lot like Tektro brakes, and they definitely stop a lot like Tektro brakes. And the fact that this bike is so big and so long and it stopped that well is pretty impressive. These are 2-piston hydraulic brakes with a 180 mil rotor up front, and it looks like a 180 or 160 mil rotor in the back. Okay guys, so I finished up my ride right at about an hour and I did 21 miles. There is no battery bar missing. That seems a little bit odd to me. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this thing off and then I'm going to power it back on. And I still have currently full battery. There's one missing up front, but that was missing from whenever I originally started this ride. So I don't know if it just never registers that very last one, but as of right now, it's showing a full battery bar and I put 21 miles on this bike. That is absolutely crazy. A testament to how good these long range Lectric XPedition 2.0s are. That's pretty bonkers. This bike's a ton of fun. Let's go inside and let's talk about this. And I want to show you all the different settings inside the menu and what exactly each one of those means, and go over a few of the other small details that I haven't hit up yet. Let's go. Okay, let's go ahead and go over the menu system here. To get into it, you're going to hold down the plus and minus button on the control pad. So P1, that is going to be your brightness mode. You'll have 3 different levels that you can change. P2 is going to be whether or not you want kilometers or miles. The next one is going to be P3, that just gives your voltage. P4 is going to be your sleep mode. You can go from 0 to 60, and that's going to indicate minutes. It defaults in at 10 minutes. And then P5 doesn't give a listing as to what this actually is, so I wouldn't mess with it. P6 is going to be your tire size. It comes defaulted in at 21.2. P7 is not listed in the manual. P8 is going to be your speed limit. 32 is going to mean a class 2 speed, which is 20 miles an hour top speed. And 45 is going to mean class 3 speed at 28 miles an hour. P9 is going to be your throttle 0 start. So if you have it on 0, you can activate the throttle from a standstill. P10 is going to be your throttle and pedal assist toggle. So on this one, it gets a little complicated. 2 is going to be the default. It means that both pedal assist and throttle are activated. If you have it on 0, it means that pedal assist is active and throttle is inactive. If you have it on 1, it means that pedal assist is inactive and throttle is active. So 2 is the default for both of them to be active. P11 is going to be called a multiplier toggle, and it goes from 0 to 1. 0 means normal multiplier and 1 means increased multiplier. I have no idea what that means, to be honest with you, so maybe somebody in the comments can let us know what that means. So P12 is going to be a light operation setting. You can change it between 1 and 0. 1 is going to have a flashing light. 0 is going to be your standard on-off for the lights. P13 is going to be a walk mode. If you have it on 0, it'll go 3 miles an hour. If you have it on 1, it'll be 3.7 miles per hour. P14 is not listed. P15 is not listed. P16 is going to be your odometer reset. So you can actually reset the odometer. Not a big fan of that. I don't think that you should be able to reset the odometer, maybe the tripometer, but not the odometer. 17 is not listed. 18 is not listed. 19 is not listed. 20 is not listed. 21 is going to be walk mode toggle. Walk mode is enabled when it's a 1 and disabled when it's a 0. And 22 is going to be your assist level. So there you go. That's your menu system on the Lectric XPedition 2.0. So there you go. That's the Lectric 2.0. And I think they did a great job on this bike. It's a really good looking cargo bike that has tons of functionality. And when you order a bike from Lectric, most of the time you get a ton of free accessories. I just looked right now, and one of the accessories you get for free is this bag. So if you are interested in picking up one of these bikes, definitely jump over there using my links down below. That'll get you the lowest price, and it'll also take you directly to the page where all of the deals on this particular bike are. And also, let's be honest, it does help out this channel just a little bit, but it's no additional cost to you. So if you enjoyed my review, why not help out the channel a little bit if you plan on ordering an electric bike? And also just click that like button if you don't mind. It really does help out my channel and I would greatly appreciate it. And if you guys are really enjoying this content and you didn't know, I've got a Patreon page called Mike's Unlocked Garage. But as always, get out there and ride your e-bike.